Welcome back, fellow travelers. I want to talk to you today about the two major airports in Toronto, and if you're going to be flying into Toronto, which airport you should choose. Now, let's jump right in. I had the fortune to live in Toronto for over a year. It's actually a great city. It gets ragged on a lot. I loved my time in Toronto. And that says a lot being a Montreal native. For some reason, I feel Montrealers like to crap all over Toronto, and I think it's an unjust in Canadian society. So if you're going to Toronto and you're like me where I was actually commuting a lot between Toronto and Montreal because I wanted to go see my family on the weekends or during holidays, I always had to decide if I wanted to fly out of Billy Bishop, which is the city center one, smaller aircrafts fly out of there, or if I wanted to go to Pearson, so more frequent flights, bigger flights, and maybe a bit out of the way. I was living in downtown Toronto, and for me, the choice was pretty much a no-brainer. I went Billy Bishop. From my apartment to the airport, just taking the TCC was about 20 minutes. It's right on Union Station. You take a little cable car. It's not far at all from the city. So if you're going into the city, in the downtown core, it makes no sense to take Pearson. The only way I did take Pearson a few times, and that was because either the flights were oversold or the prices were too high. But even at that, when I took Pearson, I always regretted not springing the extra cash for Billy Bishop or trying to work around my time so that I could just fly in and be home within 20 minutes after landing. It's crazy. It's good. The convenience of Billy Bishop, the smaller airport, the small lineups, the smaller aircrafts, which mean quicker boarding and deplane times, really made it such an advantageous proposition for me to just use Billy Bishop. Now, obviously, if you are going onwards and you're just using Toronto as a hub, or maybe you're going into the outskirts of the city, you're not really planning on going downtown immediately, then Pearson might be the better bet. But Pearson does have higher taxes for you to land at the airport, so you're going to run into a situation where it might actually end up costing more. And that's also factoring in taxi rides, Uber, whatever you're taking to get from Pearson to downtown. Now, I will say this, Pearson does have a train that goes from the downtown core to Pearson and back, and they do make a few stops along the way. I took that when I went to Pearson, and that was actually quite delightful. And the cost was minimal. That's one thing to note, is the cost for the train does fluctuate. They started off really high where nobody was using the train. Then they brought the prices down to a normal level. Whether that changes once they see people get acclimatized to using this form of transportation, maybe they bump it up another notch. I'm not too sure, but it is something to keep mindful of. If you're watching this video sometime in the future, do check the prices before committing to Pearson while going to downtown Toronto. Now, I am using Montreal, Toronto as an example, but there are other airports that Billy Bishop does serve. So that's one thing to keep an eye out. I'm just using my own example to relate my experience with Billy Bishop and Pearson. Now, I've flown to Pearson a lot of times when I was in Montreal to connect onto other flights. It being the major hub for Air Canada does provide Pearson with a slight advantage in the sense that you're able to really get in and out of the airport to fly onto another destination. So flying into Bishop and then taking a train to Toronto, Pearson isn't really a good idea. You maximize your risk by just including a few other modes of transportation. So I would stay away from that. If you're really connecting, just fly into Pearson, eat up whatever extra time delays or costs might be inherent. Don't do that JFK LaGuardia route that a lot of people do in New York to jump from one airport to another. If possible, fly into the same airport and then leave from the same airport. But I do highly recommend Billy Bishop if you're flying in to Toronto, the city core. You're going to be staying downtown. Most of your activities are going to be happening there. You're not going to regret it. Billy Bishop is such an easy in and out experience. I love it. I wish more airports would have that situation where they can have a downtown airport that just services quick flights. It was a dream to get on and off. It was nice and quick. It was always a breeze. The staff there is friendly, so that's a big plus. But more than that, I'd like to know what you think of Billy Bishop. Have you flown into Billy Bishop? If you liked it, let me know. And if not, I would also love to hear it. If you haven't flown into Billy Bishop, but you're trying to look at what airport you're deciding to fly into, let me know what your train of thought is. I'd love to be some help to you. In the meantime, though, you can check out some of my other videos right over here. You can also subscribe right here, which not only helps the channel, but lets you know when we upload new content. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day. Until next time, safe travels.